The Chicago Cubs and Texas Rangers, two teams we did not expect to be so poor this season, but unfortunately they are falling. As far as the Cubs being in last place this year with a star-studded team that has plenty of club control, and the Texas Rangers falling closer and closer to fourth place behind the LA Angels, who aren't even playoff contenders. What are we going to do about this? And there's a lot of rumors going around as far as the stars of Chicago and Texas going somewhere else. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Touching Base podcast. Good to see your smiling faces again, and please consider subscribing if you're new here. Wait till the end, let me earn it. Right now, today we're talking about Chicago Cubs. The fact that they are doing so poorly this year, they've fallen to last place officially. With a record of 39-47 in the NL Central, there's just not much of a comeback that they can really make with the current team they have. Cody Bellinger signed to a 3-year deal with the Cubs this last offseason. They beat Boris and was able to buy him for a much less price than $150 million, which is what they originally were asking for, which is crazy. Now $80 million still sounds like a lot, but per season it's only $26,666,667 on average going through the next 3 seasons, with a player option going at the end of 2024 and 2025. So 2026 would be his final season, and he'd be a free agent going forward in 2027. Of course, he can always opt out before then, but the Cubs have a lot of club control. There's only one player on the Cubs team right now that I can see that is actually going to be a free agent at the end of this season. That's Kyle Hendricks, who really hasn't been performing that great, and that's $16 million that they can wipe away off of their payroll. And he's 34 years old. I don't think they're going to want to bring him back. I think they'll take a shot at the free agents list, as there's going to be a lot of other players out there, but their offense is clearly not working. They still have control of Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, and Tachman for what looks like to be 2 more years. That includes Cody Bellinger. Now, granted, they still also have on the infield Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson. Nico Horner is good till 2027, and Dansby Swanson is good until 2030 before he's actually going to be a free agent. So they have a lot of club control, and the talks have been coming up that the Mariners are interested, possibly the Braves are interested, or Toronto. I have no idea why they are bringing this up. It's going to take a lot because the Cubs don't really have any sort of specific position they need to fill. Their weakest bat right now is Christopher Morel, which nobody really expected. Now, he does have 15 home runs on the season, but he's batting a 197 and slugging 370. So maybe they're looking for someone to fill that third base. Their big pickup with Michael Busch, he's playing first base and has been doing pretty well, batting 262 with a 448 slugging. Not exactly as high as you would expect, but 10 home runs and he has a stolen base. That's pretty good for a first baseman. And yeah, he could play third base, and I think that's his main position. Maybe they're looking to get rid of Bellinger because they have Pete Crow Armstrong to fill that outfield and get someone back to play first so they can get rid of Morel. I'm not exactly sure what's going on and what the plan is specifically, but Pete Crow's already in center field, Ian Happson left, and then Cody Bellinger being in right, and Tachman out on the IL for 10 days. I mean, when he comes back, he could still fill that seat, but at the same time, I guess he wasn't really doing that great. I don't know if I have his stats in front of me. I don't. But clearly they want to make some changes. PCA is batting only a 199 and he's slugging 294, so he's kind of struggling since he's been brought up to the bigs, but maybe it's just a slump. Maybe it's the whole team that's a slump. Miguel Amaya, they have club control over for a while. He has pre-arbitration for the next 2 years, and he's only batting 186 and slugging at 256. So maybe it's the catcher that they're looking for as far as like a big trade here, and maybe a first baseman. But the rumor is that Nico Horner could be on that list and Cody Bellinger. So I mean, I'm going to start off with the most. I know the Mariners more than anybody. I can see them making a deal. This is 2 years of control. Granted, there is the fact that he has a player option to get out of it and go to a different team at the end of this year, which could benefit us and could not benefit us. I guess it's kind of hard to decide depending on how badly he wants to win. And then Nico Horner could be our next second baseman. Jorge Polanco, if you guys saw my previous video, is just not working out. He did hit 1 double, I think I've seen since I made that video, but he is still just struggling over there. So I'm still interested in us replacing Polanco. And then also Ryan Bliss, yeah, he's batting okay and he's doing well, but clutch moments, he's not exactly ready. But we do like his wheels, and I think that's really big. When it comes to stressful situations and he gets to the plate, he tends to strike out like he did today. Other teams I can possibly see most likely going after Bellinger would probably be the Braves. I mean, with the loss of Michael Harris II, I think he is is on the IL still. He might be coming back or might have already returned, but with Acuna out for the rest of the season, I really don't think, I mean, Kalanick is hot, but not exactly Duvall. So if they're able to add a big bat like Bellinger to go to Atlanta, that would probably help them back into the playoff talk, because things didn't exactly work out the way they planned. I mean, Austin Riley is still pretty cold. He's not batting the way he should. Marcell Ozuna is doing great, but that's their DH, and I don't think they want to put him in the outfield because he's defensively not the best. But it really depends, I think, on the prospects and what the Cubs want. The way I'm looking at it, it's going to be third base, first base, and a catcher. Like, that's kind of what they're going to be looking for, maybe an outfielder. So if you're going to trade Cody Bellinger and Nico Horner, let's say in a deal, you're probably going to want to include about 5 guys, and it might include 3 to 4 prospects. Right now, they're probably going to need someone immediate. That would probably be a third baseman, either keeping Bush at first base or getting a first baseman and moving Bush to third, because that's kind of his main position that he's used to, and he's batting really well. So it's just something about this bottom of the order there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all batting pretty poorly. Even Haps at 227 and slugging at 416, but it's on the lower end. You'd expect the guy to be batting a lot better. Granted, he is like a 3-time Gold Glove. You'd need to cut some payroll in order to get to where you want to be as far as covering these big contracts that are going to be coming in. Nico Horner is currently costing $11.5 million for this year, and in 2026 his final year will be bumped up to $12 million. So there's gonna have to be some sort of cutting involved. I don't really have an answer as far as what the trade would be. It's definitely gonna be like a 5-on-2 trade for these big names, but at the same time, when I look at these stats, I mean, Bellinger's batting at 274 and a 427, so this would be the time to sell if the Cubs are going to do it, and especially if they're in last place and there's not really any point to push for anything. Let's just start a rebuild right now. I don't even want to say a rebuild. I think they're still contenders. It's just not this season, maybe next season. I don't think they need Cody Bellinger in order to do that. Clearly, it's not helping them. But with Kyle Hendricks being on his last season, I don't know if they're going to want to re-sign him, because currently he's the worst pitcher in their rotation at this point. So maybe Emerson Hancock as a trade when it comes to the Mariners, just giving them a pitcher that they can rely on. Emerson's not that bad. I mean, he's definitely way better than Hendricks. Hendricks is pitching a 7.48 ERA currently. He's started in 10 games with only 61 innings pitched, 76 hits, 18 walks, and 46 strikeouts. He has the least amount of strikeouts this season compared to all the other pitchers in the rotation. He has the second most walks, and he's given up the second most amount of hits, while also pitching the second least amount of innings. So he's just not good. I don't think they're going to re-sign him for next season, and that might also mean that, you know, Emerson Hancock is going, Harry Ford is going, and a bunch of other prospects that the Mariners would have to pick up. But they would probably have to include Mitch Haniger's contract, because he's probably our most expensive bat that is just not performing. I don't know if the Cubs are ready to eat that, because they have no use for him. Looking over at the Texas Rangers, there's been some talk as far as Max Scherzer being traded away and some other teams picking him up, maybe including the Orioles. I know that Ryan Ripken's show was talking about it a few days ago, but I was looking in the contract, and as far as I know, there's a no trade clause. So I'm not sure if they missed that or if the Athletic is missing this, because I understand that the Orioles are stacked when it comes to prospects and really good outfielders and infielders as far as options go. If the Orioles were able to make a trade and really fill in their pitching, they're playing well the last few games. They played the Mariners, and the Mariners have been terrible, so it's not really saying a lot. But if they were to replace Max Scherzer, since his contract does end, when does it end? Max Scherzer's contract does end this season. He'll be a free agent next year. This will be just a rental, but maybe that's enough to fill in the gaps that the Orioles are really struggling with, considering Kyle Bradish is now gone because of a Tommy John surgery. They're missing some guys in the rotation as well, including Batista. Maybe that starting role with Corbin Burns, Max Scherzer, Grayson Rodriguez, that big trio would really kind of push them over edge in order to hold that first place spot in the AL East. Texas Rangers have really been like a win now whole focus team as far as 2024 goes, but we just realizing that I think people are starting to realize that Texas is not going to make the playoffs at this rate, and we're running out of time in July for them to make any moves, because specifically they are literally one game in front of the in front of the LA Angels, and the LA Angels haven't been talked about a playoff spot all season. In fact, because they lost Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout was injured in the beginning of the season, nobody really really care. The highlight of the Angels season has been Rendon getting a hit, and that I don't think has happened in a really long time. In fact, I think he's back to being injured again. Who would have thought? But Texas, I mean, they have a really good team. I don't know what's going on with Adolis Garcia. I don't know what's going on with Taveras. Nate Lowe is doing really good. I mean, he's trying to carry the team. Simeon's been relatively quiet. Seager's been hurt, dead, cold, got hot for a week, then got injured again. He just got hit in the wrist the other week. He's playing, I think, his first game yesterday and today. So he's hitting home runs, but his batting average is kind of shoddy. Josh Young is still out with an injury with his wrist that he got hit. I believe he fractured his wrist, and he's not going to be back until after the All-Star break. So it's like, what are we doing here? I mean, Josh Smith has kind of stepped in, and he's filled in the role that I guess he's supposed to fill. He's been a decent bat. You're playing with a lot of backup guys and dealing with a lot of injuries, but your pitcher that you're going to lose is going to be Andrew Heaney and Max Scherzer and Michael Lorenz. It might be time to start trading for some prospect pitchers. And I can tell you right now that the Orioles have a ton of fielding prospects, but also the Mariners have a lot of pitching prospects. So maybe a three-way trade there. I'm trying to think of other teams that really need pitching. The Yankees just got Garrett Cole back, but he's looking on a little bit on the heavy side, and his last outing was pretty rough. So what's happening? Luis Hill is getting destroyed the last 3 starts. I don't really know what's happening there. He was looking at Cy Young this season. Maybe the Yankees are interested. I think right now it's Texas Rangers sell at this point. You're looking at July 4th, by the way, happy 4th of July. With the deadline coming up at the end of this month, really see Texas should just sell. They have a lot of money that they have going out, especially right now. You would rather trade Max Scherzer for all of that money that you have and then open up your books for the free agents to be picked up, while also getting in some prospects and at least utilizing his value, because he is one of the best pitchers on their rotation. But granted, it looks good on paper, but it's only been 2 starts. Right now in the 2 starts, Scherzer has a 1.74 ERA. He's only started in 2 games with 10 innings pitched, so it's a very small sample size, but he has 8 strikeouts, only walked 2, and he's only given up 5 hits since he's been injured, and he seems like he came out strong his last outing. With him being healthy and the fact that the Texas Rangers are going to lose him at the end of the season, I don't think they want to pull a LA Angels card and keep him like Shohei Ohtani and then just let him wisp off into the wind, where they could have made a 10-player trade of prospects to really improve the Angels. Instead, just held on to him, didn't make the playoffs, and they just lost his contract altogether. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments. Is Cody Bellinger and Nico Horner going to a new team? Who are some other teams that could really use them, that are buy now and really want to take on those contracts? Because that is a lot of money. We're looking at over $40 million per year with just those 2. And then also, what do you think about Texas? If you're a Texas Ranger fan, would you be sad to see Max go, or are you okay with it, because considering he is going to be a free agent at the end of the season, and Texas, you guys as Rangers, are just not playing well? Like, subscribe. I love you guys. Leave a comment down below. Let's go enjoy this baseball day and lights and fireworks. Stay safe. Don't blow off your hands. Bye.